I think next we have Elisha, who wrote to me with a very strange problem. So Elisha, tell me where you're calling in from.
Texas.
You're on mute. What'd you say?
Houston, Texas.
Okay, great. And I understand that a few years ago, you started having temporary bouts of paralysis. And you said it happens most often when you're trying to get out of the car after you've been sitting for a long period of time. Does it happen more when you're driving or more when you're the passenger?
More when I'm the passenger, and mostly when I'm in a car. And when I get out and I try to just straighten up, my whole body is just so stiff that I actually feel like I'm temporarily paralyzed, like I cannot move for a couple of seconds, and I have to very slowly straighten up. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's very strange. And
it's very strange. When I read that, I was like, well, that I can't get off the top of my head. So let me connect to your spirit for a moment and get it, because it's a little bit detailed and specific what's happening in you. Okay. So I want to, commend your doctors for trying. Although you said one doctor that you asked, he just said it's because you're getting older. We want to smack that doctor because that's obnoxious. Yeah. That is not what's happening. But what your spirit said, it is pretty complicated, and I don't know that somebody would necessarily grab that. She said that you have a virus in your system, and it's a mild virus that's living in the cerebral spinal fluid, right, where some viruses get stored in our body, but it's caused a little bit of inflammation. And what's happened is the top two bones, your C1 and C2, the base of your skull, are slightly out of alignment. And so there's a little bit of inflammation and a little bit of an adjustment that needs to happen chiropractically. And so when you turn specifically to the right, which if you're the passenger getting out of the car, when you turn your head to the right and angle in a certain way, you sort of, I don't want to say you cut off circulation because it sounds too dramatic, but you impinge, because there is that inflammation, and that slight adjustment needs to happen. And then as you kind of, okay, let me take a deep breath, let me just sit, you kind of allow that to drop back into place enough, then you can move.
That's interesting, because I do sometimes feel a lot of pressure through my neck and shoulder, and it mainly on the right side.
Yeah, it's off to the right. On the right, it's like slightly cocked up. So the reason I had you as the second guest, it works out perfect today, because when we hang up, I will use energy. Normally I'm not, these are just supposed to be readings to give information, but I can't send you off like this. I want to use energy to kill that virus and then calm down the inflammation. And then I don't want to just send you to a chiropractor. I can use energy to just nudge that vertebrae. It's such a tiny speck up out, but it's making a huge difference. So I want to move C1 and C2, just put energy in. I'm putting energy in, and then I just kind of give it a nudge, and it allows those vertebrae to drop back into place. So all that is, I trust energy to do it more than I trust, a machine or somebody's hands to do it. But that's a fascinating case. I appreciate you bringing that on.
Is there something that I did maybe to cause that? Or was it an injury maybe from doing Pilates or yoga?
Let me ask. She said it's not that you caused it per se, but where the stress, where the mental and emotional piece comes in with those two vertebrae being kind of jacked up and off to the right a little bit, comes from the right side of our body represents our future in general, and the left side represents our past. And your spirit said you are very almost hyper focused on your future, and always kind of looking at, well, how's that going to affect the future? Well, what if I do this, and then this and this happens? And there's a lot of kind of strategizing, playing it forward, thinking that you do. And so she said, this can be this reminder to be more present moment and try to okay, what is happening right now and today? And what do I need to get done today and tomorrow versus how's that going to impact next month, next year? Does that resonate for you?
I've actually been working on that.
Good.
Very much.
Well, then this comes about all the right time, right? To reinforce that message.
It does. It makes perfect sense.
Okay, good. And so I think it's natural. What kind of work do you do?
I'm retired right now. I taught school for 29 years, and a little bit of real estate, but right now I'm trying to focus on myself, because I I didn't realize how worn out I was working 2 jobs and a lot going on with my family life. But I was very super focused on what's next. And I've realized that I just need to take time for me and breathe. And like you said, just try to be in the present moment. And I've been working on that.
Well, good. It's funny that that's a theme that, I didn't know this at all about the 2 guests we have today, that's kind of our theme is present moment versus where I think I should be, or I need to be more serious about what the next chapter looks like. And I think that for people who are drawn to this sort of work, and I think that most people are suffering from too much of being in the future or being in the past and not enough of being present moment. And when we're present moment and really breathe into it, that's when our intuition kicks in about, oh, here is the next step. So it's so ironic that we're out there hunting that next perfect step instead of allowing it to come towards us and making the space for that to happen.
I'm going to work on that.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I'm happy to do this work on you, and it'll just take a few minutes. So when we go off, if you'll stay on, I'll loop back around and catch you afterwards.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're so welcome. So welcome. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This has been fun and hopefully informative for you. I really want to help people see the connections that are there between how your body's showing up for you and what your beliefs are, and the pressures we put on ourselves, and the inaccurate beliefs that we all carry, and that our ego mind cranks out all the time. So I hope you'll join us every weekday for this month of October at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time on Facebook Live, and we will let you check out snippets of it on Instagram and YouTube. Those will be posted there too. So follow along. Hope to see you soon. Thanks.